Good morning and welcome to the Massey Shaw fireboat. My name is David Rogers, and this morning we're going to be looking at the Dunkirk plaques that we have on board the boat that are found in the crew space, and to tell the story of these brave individuals who took part in the Dunkirk evacuation. So the plaques themselves were made by Fire Brigade workshops, London Fire Brigade workshops, and were presented to the boat in about 1947. The insignia that you see on the top plaque there is three key areas. The first one is for the National Fire Service, and that took place in 1941 when it was first formed, and that nationalised all the smaller fire brigades into a unified force, and that would have been in place obviously when this plaque was made. At the far side here we have the insignia for the London Fire Brigade. And on this side we have the Auxiliary Fire Service, which was formed in 1938, and below that we have the names of all the individuals who took part in the Dunkirk evacuation, and they were a combination mainly of the London Fire Brigade Regular Fire Service and the Auxiliary Fire Service, but all of them volunteered to go on this vessel to assist with the evacuation of the British Expeditionary Force in May 1940. The boat itself, the only fireboat to attend, and found that they were able to get close to where the men were waiting to be rescued from the beaches. And I'm sure you've all seen the classic photographs. Obviously there's the Dunkirk film recently, which shows how the men were actually wading in up to their chests, waiting to be rescued. And the fireboat came along and was able to bring off those men in small groups between 60 and 80 people at a time, and bring them to larger vessels. And during the 3 days that the vessel was involved, over 600 troops were rescued from the beaches, and another 110 were brought back to the UK. But certainly we have the list of the names of the people that took part. They were a combination, as I mentioned before, of London Fire Brigade River Service and Auxiliary Fire Service people. They were a mixture of different abilities, so we had some younger people and also some older people who were able to manoeuvre the vessel. So we had engineers like Richard Hellier here, we had a coxswain for the three trips that the boat made, which was John May, and we have various other individuals who participated as crew and relief crew. The thing was that the fire brigade weren't aware of what the boat was going to be used for, so they tried to have a good combination of people to deal with any eventualities that they were to expect. So the important thing for us though is that the plaque itself does acknowledge who those people were, and we do have some information as a trust about some of these individuals. Some of them I've mentioned, with Aubrey John May, with Mr Youngman, Richard Hellier. But there are other individuals who we don't have too much of a backstory at all. We know that they participated in the actual event, but we haven't got their histories. So people like Fireman Gibbs, and with Wilson here, and also McGregor and Frederick Lowe, we have very little information. So that if you are family members or have connections to these individuals or any of the other individuals that we see on the plaque, we would certainly love to know, because we're trying to incorporate all of those into our archives, and those snippets of information will be really helpful. So you can do that by contacting us via our website, which is www.masseyshaw.org. Moving on, the rest of the plaques that you see around here today are a combination of various gifts that have been given to the boat via its involvement with the Association of Dunkirk Little Ships. So every little ship that you see has this Dunkirk plaque here, with Dunkirk 1940, a glass plaque, and every time since 1965, when Raymond Baxter set up the first return, the vessels have been presented with various plaques by the people of Dunkirk as part of their thanks for the rescues that took part. Now the vessel itself rescued over 600 troops off the beaches and brought back another 110 soldiers to the UK. But in 1965, Raymond Baxter, the famous broadcaster, had bought himself a little ship, and decided that it'd be good to make that return to celebrate 25 years after the initial event in 1940. So a number of boats were invited via a newspaper article, and Massey Shaw was one of those that took part in that trip back. And that's the plaque that we have here from the first return in 1965. And then since then, the boat has made a number of returns, as you can see. The last return was in 2015, and that was the plaque here, the round plaque that you see. The others celebrate remaining other trips. So we're very proud to have that information on board the vessel itself, and to have that link with the actual story, and we continue to keep those links to it. The other plaques there, obviously, for a plaque from the London Fire Brigade, and this one here, which is the Society's own plaque. So we have that as a balance for the board itself.